Okay, hello everyone. Today we're going to tell you some stories, really unsettling accounts that were shared with us. These are chilling experiences, situations where a simple road trip or maybe even camping alone just takes this terrifying turn.
Yeah, these aren't just made up. They come from source material, specifically a channel known for recounting these kinds of disturbing real-life encounters. And we want to really look at what happened in these specific incidents.
Exactly. We're going to share 3 stories from this source material. We'll walk through the events, moment by moment, focusing on those points where something that seems normal, like a car breaking down, suddenly becomes, well, something else entirely. Sinister.
It really highlights how vulnerable you can be, maybe when you least expect it, when you think you're safe in your car or alone in nature.
Totally. Okay, so let's start with the first story from the source. This one happens late at night on a quiet parkway. Someone's driving home, long day, needs to pull over for a minute, parks the truck, hazards on, deals with something off the side of the road near the woods.
Standard stuff. Happens all the time.
Right. Gets back in the truck, ready to leave, turns the key.
Click, click, click. Nothing.
Yep. Battery's completely dead. Tried it a few times, no luck. Just stuck there.
So they're stranded. Hazards blinking.
Right. So they get out, maybe hoping someone drives by with jumper cables. Eventually, headlights appear, a car slows down, pulls right up behind the truck.
Okay. Help has arrived, you think?
You'd think. 2 guys get out, described as large men. The driver asks them straight up, "Hey, you got jumper cables?"
What do they say?
Well, first they kind of look at each other. Then the driver says no cables, asks if the person's stuck, hears about the battery. Then one of them offers to call one of his boys to come help.
One of his boys.
Yeah.
Okay. And the source mentions how the person felt right then.
Immediately uncomfortable. The account uses the phrase gangster kind of vibes. That gut feeling just kicked right in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Before anything really happened. That's telling.
It is. So the driver gets back in the truck while the other guy is supposedly making this call. But that bad feeling, it makes them call their own help. Calls their brother, even though it's past midnight. Explains they're stuck, need cables, tells him to hurry.
Smart move. Did the brother answer?
Yeah, brother says he's on his way. Be there quick. So the driver hangs up, gets back out, waves at the car behind them, tells them, "Hey, my brother's coming. We're all set. Thanks anyway."
Okay, so the situation should be resolved now. They should leave.
You'd think. But according to the source, the driver of the other car just gets out, hears this, and says something really odd. Just, "I done."
I done. What did that even mean?
No idea. The source highlights how unsettling that phrase felt. It wasn't like, "Oh, okay, cool." Just,
Yeah.
"I done."
That's incredibly weird.
Yeah.
And unnerving.
Totally. So at first, the driver feels relieved, thinks, okay, they're leaving, sits back down the truck, waits a second. But then they realize they never heard the car drive away. They look back, 5 minutes pass.
Yeah.
The car is still sitting there. Right behind them, hasn't moved an inch.
Oh, no. Okay, now it's definitely bad.
Yeah, the danger feels real now. So they call their brother again. This time it's urgent. Speed! And bring weapons! I think I'm about to get jumped.
Oh, my God. Tells them to bring weapons.
Yep. Luckily, the brother lives like 5 minutes away. The driver's just kicking themselves for stopping there. And then more headlights.
The brother.
Not the brother. This second car pulls up, but not behind the first one. It pulls up behind the truck.
Boxing them in.
Exactly. Sandwiched, 2 more doors open, 2 more men get out.
Oh, this is bad. Really bad.
And the source is clear. The driver knows instantly this isn't help. The guy from the first car gets out, greets these new guys like they're buddies, calls them his goons in the account. They all start walking towards the truck, talking loud, cursing.
And crucially, did they have jumper cables?
Nope. The source specifically mentions that. None of them had cables. The initial offer of help was clearly just a lie.
A complete setup.
Looks like it. But just as these 4 guys are getting close to the truck, then the brother shows up. Headlights described as zooming down the parkway.
Talk about timing.
Seriously. Brother pulls his Mustang up sharp right in front of the truck, gets out, and he's holding a baseball bat. Even pulls another one out and tosses it to his sibling in the truck.
Wow. Prepared.
Yeah. The brother, described as bigger, takes this dominant stance, speaks loud and clear. "We don't want any trouble. Just move on. Let us leave."
How did the other guys react to that?
It definitely made them pause. Backed off a bit. One actually leaves the scene. Another one tries to act all innocent, like, "Hey, we never said we wanted trouble."
Right, but while this is happening.
While this standoff is going on, the driver notices something else. The guy who was the passenger in the first car, he's gone. vanish.
Missing. Oh, where'd he go?
Driver whispers to the brother, "Be careful, one's missing." The brother keeps an eye out while he quickly positions his car, gets the cables, hooks them up.
Okay, try to get out fast.
Driver's watching the three guys still standing there, and then the brother quietly says their name, just tilts his head towards the woods.
I'm dead.
And the driver looks and sees him, the missing guy, hiding in the darkness by the trees, looking like he was ready to, jump out, a sneak attack.
Chilling. Absolutely chilling. Planned.
Definitely looks that way. Brother says, "Try it now." Driver turns the key.
Please start.
It starts. First try. Driver jumps out, basically guards the brother while he disconnects the cable super fast.
Okay, go.
They whisper a quick plan. Brother backs out fast. Driver floors it forward. They slam their hoods shut. Take one last look. The guys are huddled by the third car, just watching them. Then they run to their vehicles, hit the gas.
Get out of it, Russ.
Brother reverses fast. The truck lurches forward. Driver floors it. And then, bam!
What was that?
Back windshield shatters. A brick lands inside the truck cab.
No.
And then, pop, pop, pop. Gunshots hitting the rest of the back window, just destroying it.
They're shooting at them.
Yeah. They duck down, trying to drive. Just get away. Luckily, the guys don't follow them.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Did they get away? Okay.
They did. Got home safe, completely unharmed, miraculously. Told their dad.
What did he say?
Dad was like 100% sure it was a local gang.
Yeah.
Said that Parkway is just not safe at night. They figured the guys wanted to rob them, but the bats made them hesitate just long enough.
Wow. What an absolutely terrifying encounter. Started with a dead battery, ended with gunfire.
It really shows how fast things can escalate and how that offer of help was just a trap.
And that guy hiding in the woods, that detail shows real planning. It wasn't random.
Okay, let's shift gears. We have another story from the source material, a very different setting. This one's a solo camping trip. Deep wilderness.
Right, and the person involved is described as an experienced camper, comfortable being alone out there.
Yeah.
But this is different.
Totally different. So they're in their tent, trying to get to sleep, campfires dying down outside, and they start to hear something.
Animal noises at first.
Maybe thought that initially. Distant sounds. But then it got closer. Footsteps. Definitely footsteps, circling the tent. On the forest floor.
Circling. That's
Yeah.
unnerving.
Yeah. The account says they thought, well, maybe a bear. But steps weren't that heavy, and animals usually avoid fire, even embers. But these footsteps just kept going, around and around.
Did they try calling out?
They did, called out, "Hello!"
Yeah.
Clearly, but the footsteps didn't stop, didn't change, just kept circling.
Okay, that's seriously creepy.
So the camper sits up, unzips the tent flap really quietly, peeks outside, can still hear the steps, but now they sound quieter, more cautious, like whoever it was knew they were being listened to.
Oh, man.
They're looking out into the pitch black forest, trying to see where the sound's coming from, and then, just for a second, they see a light.
A flashlight?
No, the source is very specific. Undeniably, a phone screen.
Whoa. Okay, that changes everything.
It switched off immediately, but that confirms it. It's not an animal, it's a person out there, stalking them, circling the tent in the dark.
And they didn't answer when called out to.
Exactly. Which the source says was a very bad sign. Even with all their camping experience being stalked by a human, that's a whole other level of terror. Just pure fear.
I can't even imagine. What did they do?
Knew they had to get out of there. Now, the source mentions they have a license to carry, always bring a sidearm camping, so they got that out. Then, shaking, terrified, they start packing the tent as fast as they possibly can, constantly spinning around, checking the darkness, expecting someone to just rush them, and the footsteps just keep moving out there.
Packing a tent in the dark while someone circles you? That's nightmare fuel.
No kidding. Once they had everything sort of stuffed in bags, forget stealth. They just sprinted to the car. It wasn't too far. Threw the gear in the back, jumped in, locked the doors.
Okay, safe inside the car now. Relief.
For a second, maybe, but then they start the car, and it just wobbles, shakes really badly. There's this awful scraping sound.
Oh, no.
And then the alert pops up on the dashboard. Low tire pressure. Not one tire.
Don't say it.
All four.
All 4 tires slashed while they were packing.
Systematically slashed. They were completely trapped, miles from anywhere, in the dark forest. The account describes just shaking uncontrollably, headlights on, creating this tiny circle of light, terrified to even look beyond it because the stalker could be right there.
Just waiting. Oh, God.
Shaking, but knew they had to call for help, reached for their phone to call the police. And right at that moment, they looked up into the rearview mirror.
What did see? Please don't say.
Someone standing there, directly behind the car, right by the trunk, just standing in the darkness.
No. Just no.
Heart just stopped, apparently, but somehow didn't scream, took a deep breath.
Okay, what now?
Remembered the gun, grabbed it, threw the car door open, stepped out, trying to look as aggressive as possible, aimed the gun right at the figure.
Confronted them. Wow.
The person at the back immediately put their hands up. The camper just screamed as loud, as angry, as terrified as they could. "Get away from me, leave."
Did it work?
The source says the camper wasn't bluffing. They were ready, and the person, they backed away. Slowly. Hands still up. Then just melted back into the woods, disappeared.
Gone. Thank God.
Hamper jumps back in the car, locks the doors again, immediately calls the police, gives the location, gets told a state trooper is on the way, then calls a tow truck.
That wait must have felt like an eternity. Alone, car disabled, knowing that person was still out there somewhere.
Agonizing. The source says they only felt truly safe when those police lights finally appeared. Trooper arrived, then the tow truck, got the car towed, tires replaced the next day.
What an ordeal. Just horrific.
And here's the thing, the source ends this account by saying this experience, it didn't stop them from camping solo again.
That's incredible resilience.
Yeah.
But the story itself, it's a chilling example of being targeted, isolated, disabled, then confronted, slashing all the tires. That's pure malice.
It really is. Okay, one more story from the source material to share. This one starts with something more mundane, running out of gas.
Happens to the best of us. Faulty fuel gauge, apparently.
Right. So, late at night again. Stranded on a quiet road in a town that seems pretty much deserted, nobody they know nearby. The only thing around is this small house sitting up on a hill. Seems like the only option for help.
Makes sense. So they walk up.
Yep. Walks up to the house. It's about 9:30 p.m. Lights are on inside, so it seems reasonable to knock. Rings the bell. Waits. Rings it again.
Anyone answer?
No answer. Nothing. Even though the lights are clearly on. So, okay, maybe nobody's home or they don't want to answer. They turn, start walking back down the path to the road.
And
then they hear it. Coming from the side of the house, behind some bushes, a really disturbing sound. The source describes it like moaning and distressed breathing, like someone was hurt or in pain.
Whoa. Okay, that's not what you expect.
Not at all. Made them uneasy, but they kept walking towards their car. Looked back at the house one more time.
See anything?
Yeah. A new light was on, upstairs this time. And there was someone standing in the window. Just staring down at them. Not moving, not waving, not coming to the door. Just standing there, watching.
Okay, that's multiple weird things now. No answer. Strange noises, someone watching silently.
Definitely creepy. Driver gets back to the car, calls roadside assistance. They say it'll be about half an hour. It's warm out, so they decide to wait outside the car.
Pacing around, probably.
Pacing, texting, and then they hear this deep voice. Excuse me.
Oh, who was it?
They look up. There's a man standing near the curb, kind of by the driveway of that house. And the description in the source is unsettling. Hat pulled down low, head tilted so you can't really see his face. Asks, "Is there a problem?"
What did the driver say?
Just explained, "Yeah, ran out of gas," and the man's response, just a flat, "Oh!" That's it.
Just, oh.
Yep. Then he turns, walks back up the hill, and disappears behind the same bushes where the driver heard those moaning sounds earlier.
Okay, that is extremely creepy. Everything about that interaction.
The driver thought so too. The source says their gut reaction was just very creepy. Texts their girlfriend about this creepy guy, and also mentions the weird noises they heard from the side of the house.
What did the girlfriend say?
This is interesting. The girlfriend actually suggests maybe they should go check out what was making that sound behind the bushes.
Seriously.
Yeah.
After the creepy guy just went back there.
Yeah. Maybe concern, maybe curiosity on the girlfriend's part. But the driver, they decide to do it. Despite the creepiness, despite the watcher in the window, they decide to investigate the noise.
Oh boy. Okay, so they go back up.
Sneaks back up the hill, through some trees beside the house, towards the spot where the sounds were coming from, gets right up to the sidewall, listens closely.
Still hear it?
Yeah. The moaning, the distressed breathing, still audible, seems to be coming from a window right there. They creep closer to the window, try to look in, but the blind is pulled down.
Can't see anything, but can still hear it.
Exactly. The sounds of distress are clear. So the driver taps lightly on the window glass, asks, is everything okay in there?
Did they get a response?
Yes. According to the source, a faint voice, weak, from inside. It just says, "Help."
Oh my God, help!
Just that one word, the driver's just frozen there. What do you even do? Call the police. Run.
I don't know, that's terrifying.
And while they're standing there, paralyzed, unsure, The blind on the window suddenly kinks open, just a little bit. A small gap opens up.
And they saw something.
They saw a face, looking back at them through the gap.
Whose face?
The source says, it looked like the creepy man. The same guy who spoke to them by the road moments earlier.
Same guy. Looking out.
Seemed like it. And just like that, the blind drops shut again. Then they hear the window itself close completely, and the sounds, the moaning, the breathing, stop. Silence.
Cut off. Oh, that's horrifying.
I'm absolutely petrified. The driver just turns and runs, sprints back down the hill to their car, jumps inside, locks the door, heart absolutely pounding, just waits.
Until roadside assistance came.
Until roadside assistance arrived. And the source makes a point of this. When the tow truck driver gets there, fills the tank, the driver says nothing.
Nothing at all. About the sounds, the plea for help, the face at the window.
Not a word. Just got the gas, paid, and drove straight home. Tried to pull the whole thing out of their mind, never wanted to think about that house or what might have been happening inside it ever again.
Wow. That only leaves you with so many questions and just a cold feeling.
Yeah. So these three stories from the source, they're different situations, but they all kind of point to the same unsettling idea, don't they?
They really do. How quickly things can turn. A dead battery, being alone in the woods, running out of gas. These are common problems. But encountering the wrong person in that moment, that's where the real danger lies.
And how help isn't always help. In that first story, the offer to call someone wasn't help, it was calling reinforcements, apparently.
Exactly. And the camper being stalked, the attacker waited until they were physically trapped with the slashed tires before showing themselves. And that third story, the house looks like potential help, but it's hiding something terrifying. The creepy guy seems connected to it all.
It also really brings home that gut feeling we talked about. The source material highlights it in each case. That initial uh-oh moment.
Yeah, the gangster vibes, the unease about the footsteps before seeing the phone, the creepiness of the man by the house. Trusting that feeling seems critical.
And maybe being prepared too. Like the brother showing up with bats, the camper having their sidearm. It seemed to change things in those first two stories, at least maybe deterring something worse.
It definitely seemed to shift the power dynamic, yeah. Gave them a chance to escape. But that third story, the silence afterwards, choosing not to report it, that's heavy.
It is. Why didn't they call the police? Were they too scared? Did they think no one would believe them? We don't know. The source doesn't say, it just leaves you wondering.
Makes you think about the choices you might make when you're terrified and alone.
So maybe something for you to think about. These stories from the source really make you consider that when you're stranded or isolated, the biggest threat might not be the situation itself. The car trouble, the wilderness, but potentially other people.
Yeah. How do you tell the difference between someone genuinely trying to help and someone who means you harm? And beyond just having jumper cables or a spare tire, what does being truly prepared for that kind of unexpected, terrifying encounter actually look like?
Well, that brings us to the end of our look into these unsettling stories shared in the source material today. Thank you so much for listening and exploring these accounts with us.
We really appreciate you joining us.
If you found these stories compelling and maybe a little chilling, please remember to press like, share this with others, and subscribe to the Horror Docs channel to hear more.
Your support helps us bring more stories like these.
Goodbye for now. Stay safe out there.